When you're starting out on the path to making money through photography, knowing how to get your first paying clients, turn them into repeat customers, and having them recommend you to their network is key. So in this video, I'll cover 8 steps on how you can make that happen, Captain. And thanks to WeTransfer for sponsoring this video. The very first thing you need to do is build your portfolio. Not only does having a solid body of work help attract future clients, it gives you a lot of low-stakes experience. Going out shooting with a friend to practice portraits is a low-pressure way to work through on-the-shoot issues that you'll inevitably face, practice directing your subject, and working with light, composition, and camera settings. It'll also help you just gain confidence. If your focus isn't portraiture, maybe it's product photography, find a household item like a pair of shoes, a watch, whatever, and practice your styling, utilizing light, backdrops, and props to craft images that tell stories and ultimately sell products for a future client. If you're really lacking shooting experience, a great way to start can be assisting an established photographer. Watching them work and seeing how they operate with paying clients can really be invaluable. Start networking on Instagram or a Facebook group of photographers local to you to make genuine connections with those who are doing what you want to be doing. On the topic of assisting, here are some tips on how to be a good one. Don't pester the photographer with questions during the shoot. Save those for later when the pressure and stress is off the photographer. Anticipate the needs of the photographer. Side note, Rachel got fired as an assistant for not doing this. Side note, she said I'm allowed to tell you that. If the photographer wants to switch lenses, you are ready, lens in hand. Think a few steps ahead of what the photographer may need, and then have that solution ready. To really go above and beyond when on location, being prepared with little things like gaff tape, a multi-tool, and a lens cloth on hand can really set you apart. If you want to shoot weddings, second shooting for another photographer is also a great way to gain experience without the same pressure a lead photographer carries. Learning how to make the most of your environment under the restrictions of a wedding day will help you so much in your journey as a photographer. For some tips on being a great second shooter, syncing the time on your camera with that of your lead photographer can save some time and hassle in post-production. Again, while you don't want to make too many mistakes, this is a little lower stakes. Once Rachel shot a wedding and didn't realize her camera was set to shoot JPEGs instead of raw images. Side note again, she said I could share that. So while that's not ideal, it's way less of a big deal than if she were the lead photographer. Lesson here is to double check your camera's menu settings before you start shooting. Now, if you want to share some photos you take as a second shooter, make sure you check with your lead photographer first. You also don't want to misrepresent your second shooting photos as your own booked client. Once you've built a portfolio of work, next comes the website and social media. We always recommend showcasing only your best work and only work that you actually want to shoot. Don't show wedding work if you hate shooting weddings. Duh. Also on your website, try not to show more than 3 photos from the same shoot. When we see this, it's usually telling that the photographer is new and inexperienced. Let viewers know where you're willing to shoot, what type of sessions you can be booked for, describe your style to make sure it aligns with what potential clients are looking for, and make sure they can easily contact you to book. Notice I said where you're willing to shoot and not where you live. If you want to shoot destination weddings, let people know that. You don't have to stay relegated to the town you live in if that's not what you want. Once your website is live, ask for critiques from people whose work you respect. Having an outside perspective can shed light on things you may have missed or completely overlooked. Finally, share your work on social media and let friends and family know that you are looking for photo clients. If your current network of friends and family haven't yielded the results you wanted in terms of paid photo work, consider doing some good old-fashioned cold calling. Now, in this day and age, it may be more of a cold DM or a cold email, but you get the idea. If you love talking to people in person, feel free to go to small businesses, strike up a conversation, and see how you may be able to help them and get paid for it. We definitely aren't that type, but we have cold emailed brands many times and have gotten ongoing paid work from doing so don't discount it. We've touched on this before, but you could also do a spec shoot. It could be photographing a product from a nearby business and emailing it to them along with a pitch for, building out their social media with stunning images of their product to attract new customers. It could take a little hustle, but it's totally doable. One of the most common questions we've gotten over the years is, how much should I charge for a shoot? And the problem is this depends on so many factors, from your experience to the country or region you live in and the type of photography that you're doing. Here in the US, I think for your very first portrait shoot, somewhere between $100 and $200 is reasonable. Now keep in mind, you aren't just charging for your time on location at the shoot. There's prep, drive time, gas, cost of gear, insurance, photo editing, and so on and so forth. It's quite likely you'll start out by undercharging, but once you gain some experience and with that confidence, definitely up your prices to remain competitive without lowballing. For Rachel's first product shoot, it was for a family member and she was paid $60 for it, but she accidentally left the check in her shorts and ran it through the washer and then the dryer, so that one was on the house. Side note, she's not okay with me telling you this. So instead of losing paper checks in your pants, we definitely recommend accepting payments online, whether it's Zelle, Venmo, PayPal, ACH transfers. The bottom line is to make the process super easy for your client to pay and super easy for you to keep track of your payments and have it all going where it needs to. We've also used Wave apps for years, which is a solid free solution. It's common to lock in a 30 to 50% deposit upon booking and the remaining due after the shoot before you deliver the edited photos, but again, this depends on the niche, the client, the region, etc. If there's no deposit, just make sure you're paid before you deliver the photos. And there should be a signed contract from both parties, but that's kind of beyond the scope of this video. For more in-depth on all of this, we cover it all in our wedding photography masterclass, linked below. Once you have your first shoot booked, it's time to crush it.
You're gonna crush it.
Now, in order to do that, make sure expectations are set, and ideally this would be before the client books with you. So if you're shooting an engagement session, for instance, how long is the shoot for? How many locations will you be shooting at? How many photos will the client receive? So on and so forth. Just make sure you're on the same page with your client. Then, show up on time and prepared. You have extra batteries, maybe a 5-in-1 reflector, an umbrella in case it rains. Just anticipate what might go wrong and make your job harder and see how you can prepare for it. Side note, this will probably leave a good impression on your clients. During the shoot, just be easy to work with and friendly. If you're shooting portraiture, pay attention to how your client is feeling. You always want them to feel comfortable, and they'll photograph better when they are comfortable. If something isn't working, don't just keep shooting because you don't want the client to think something is wrong. Let them know you just need to switch lenses or try another location or another pose. It may feel awkward or uncomfortable, but the results will be better for it. Instill your portrait client with confidence, just because most people aren't used to having their photo taken very often, so they may feel awkward. Keep the mood light and fun. Once you've wrapped your shoot, narrow down your favorite shots that you think the client will love. If it's a job that requires a good amount of work in post-processing with something like LIGHTROOM and then Photoshop, well, you may want the client to narrow down the images further by picking the shots they want edited. To make this process as streamlined as possible for both you and the client, we recommend checking out WeTransfer. They have a brand spanking new portals feature to make this part super simple. So simply create a portal for the project and then upload the photos you want the client to select from. Then just give them specific instructions so they know exactly what to do. So we could say, star your 5 favorite photos, then send it off to your client. This not only makes your job a lot easier, but it makes your client's job easier too. Then when it's time to send the final photos, you can upload them right to the portal and let your clients know they can go ahead and download the assets or simply view them and give feedback, all within the portal feature. Making the experience as frictionless as possible will just be the icing on the cake and leave the clients with a positive impression of working with you and increase the odds of them wanting to hire you again. So check out WeTransfer's new portal feature in the link below. After the shoot is in the books, take a step back and analyze how it went. What did you do well? What could have gone better? Maybe you promised your client 5 final images from the shoot, but you over-delivered with 10 stunners and the client was super appreciative. And on the flip side, maybe the location your client wanted to shoot at was challenging, and if you took the time to scout the location ahead of time, you could have been better prepared. You always should be looking to improve, so it's key to know what you do well and where you can get better so each shoot is better than the last. Now, if you enjoyed working with past clients, keep in touch. For portraits, maybe you want to email past clients and offer a special on a holiday photo shoot. Maybe the couple had a kid and you can offer family portraits. For products, inquire about new seasonal releases or anything they have in the pipeline that could utilize your services. Also, maybe you've expanded into shooting video and have examples on how you can provide different assets for them. The bottom line is, don't let them forget about you. Finally, evolve as a photographer. This is a competitive industry, and many photographers have expanded into video, whether it's just for marketing themselves or as services they offer for clients. If there is something trending in your niche that you think clients will want, just make sure that you have the know-how or gear to pull it off. Also, think outside the box a bit. What elements can you bring to the table that no one else is doing? This is a chance to highlight your creativity that's unique to you and set yourself apart from the competition. Plus, trying new things with your work keeps the job from getting stale. We hope you found this video to be helpful. At the very least, maybe now you'll check your pant pockets before tossing them in the wash.
Check your pocket!
Thanks again to WeTransfer for sponsoring this video, and to learn more, click the link in the description. We'll see you in the next one.